With training camp just a few days away for San Francisco, arguably the most overlooked player on the roster is Isaac Guerendo. When you look at him on paper, he's an athletic freak, receiving a relative athleticism score of 9.97 out of 10, which takes into account your height, weight, and other combine measurements. Speaking of which, despite being 220 pounds, Guerendo ran a blistering fast 40-yard time of 4.33 seconds. But maybe more impressively to me is what he offered for the team last year. He was really a complete player, and maybe a reason why San Francisco decided to move off a player like DEEBO Samuel. When you're looking at his background, for instance, he's a former wide receiver and he was actually recruited to do that in college, so there's no surprise he put up over 150 yards in the air last year and an additional 400 on the ground. A true wide back in a sense. And heading into the season, I expect Guerendo's role to expand, especially when you consider the fact players like Brandon Ayuk and Demarcus Robinson will be out to start the season. And I know that he shares the same position with Christian McCaffrey, but I don't necessarily think Kyle Shanahan has to use him that way. He can be used like a true offensive weapon. Meaning, you could go ahead and put him in the slot, run a screen to him, have him run the route, or you could put him in the backfield with Christian McCaffrey, maybe motion out Christian McCaffrey so everyone's focused on him. Then there's a halfback draw to Guerendo. I also expect Guerendo to be in competition for San Francisco's true power back role heading into the season. Last year, I think you saw this time and time again on his tape, but I think fans didn't really appreciate it. When you're watching just a simple little run like here against the Bears, a lot of fans just see a run that picks up a couple of yards, but what I see is a back that truly finishes a run. You can see how Guerendo sees 49 in the hole, but rather than slowing up, he speeds up, lowers his shoulder, and then picks up an additional 3 or 4 yards here. Maybe the biggest reason I think Isaac Guerendo is going to have a massive year heading into year 2 though is the vision that he showed during his rookie campaign. Here for instance, San Francisco is running a split zone concept which has Kyle Juszczyk coming across the offensive line to kick out the defensive end. Meanwhile, the offensive linemen are stepping playside in hopes of creating lanes. And I try to highlight these lanes right here, and Guerendo's responsibility on this play is reading each lane outside in. And with him reading 0 in this lane right here, he does a good job of first pressing that gap to get the defense to start funneling that way. Then once he sees a clear wall to run behind, he shoots it without hesitation, and I love his footwork. Here for instance, he does a great job of avoiding Pooney, and watch how he finishes this run. It's always in an aggressive way. Here for instance, he's literally picking up 22 and throwing him to the ground. Tied directly to this aggression and this aggressive running style is the contact balance he routinely shows off. When a player is coming at him for instance, they can't be coming at him with little arm tackles or he'll just break it. To really illustrate this point in Guerendo's game, on this play, San Francisco is once again running a split zone concept, but this time, George Kittle is the one that will be motioning across to kick out this defensive end. And once again on this play, Guerendo does an excellent job of creating a cutback lane by pressing this outside gap, getting 8 to funnel that direction, cutting it back hard, and right here, you get to see this little arm tackle he breaks, and then he's off to the races because of his contact balance. And you better bring all when you're tackling him because he's always falling forward. Like here on this play, he at least picks up an additional 4 or 5 yards. Not only does this wear down the defense as the game progresses, I also think it changes the way a play caller looks at a game plan. Here for instance, Guerendo could have easily been tackled in the backfield, but because of his contact balance, he makes this negative play into a positive one. So rather than having a deep pass maybe you have to call, now maybe just another run or a short pass. Maybe what's more exciting to me than the power he showed off as a rookie is how he continued to develop his footwork as the season went on. Here for instance, against the Lions, San Francisco is running a zone concept with Guerendo reading outside in. And unlike he would do early on in his rookie season, he sees this extremely small gap but shoots it without any hesitation, and this is why he's able to actually turn this play into a major positive for his team. I mean, it's pretty impressive how he's actually able to navigate his way through this small little gap here. So far, I've mainly been focusing on Guerendo's cuts where he puts just a foot in the ground and then makes his way up the field, but maybe the most impressive cut he has in his arsenal is a jump cut. Here for instance, once again, does a great job of getting this entire defense flowing in one direction, and at the last second, jump cuts all the way back across and you can see how much separation this causes. Then his crazy athleticism takes over and he's able to explode through this defense. Another aspect of Grindo's game I think will make him extremely successful in Kyle Shanahan's offense or any offense is his ability to chain together cuts. Here, for instance, he does a great job of linking together his cuts, which allows him to navigate his blocks effectively and make it all the way down the field, maybe 15-20 yards before even being touched by a Rams defender. I mean, it's just pretty impressive just how smooth he is at this position considering he's pretty new at it. While so far I've been focusing on Grindo mainly as a back, the fact is he's going to be used as a true offensive weapon. Here, for instance, imagine Christian McCaffrey can fake the ball, then it getting handed off to Grindo. The whole entire defense obviously would be flowing with Christian McCaffrey, not expecting much from Grindo. But then his 4.33 speed takes over and San Francisco is celebrating a touchdown. In a similar way on this, you could fake a screen to, let's say, George Kittle or maybe Christian McCaffrey, then come back on this little draw to Grindo, and you can see how this creates a ton of room for him to operate. And he does a great job of setting up blocks. Like here, he shoots out hard to allow George Kittle to get this man, and then he's running down the field. Where I think Grindo is going to shock the most amount of people though this year is as a receiver. I think Kyle Shanahan may use him as like a slot weapon a lot of times or even coming out of the backfield. He's a nightmare matchup for basically everyone across the league. Here, for instance, going against this Bears linebacker, he's manned up on him, but because of his change direction, he's able to create all of this separation. Grindo then catches it and he's off to the races. In a similar way on this play, Grindo will be running a wheel route, and on this play, pay attention to who Brock Purdy initially reads. He's reading this linebacker all day, and as soon as he sees him flat-footed with Grindo in pursuit, he knows Grindo is more athletic than him, then just lays up. And this is why I love his background as a wide receiver. He does an excellent job of tracking this ball and then running with it after this play. In a similar way here, you can see how Grindo has to go outside of his frame to bring down this ball, but he's able to. It's also worth noting Christian McCaffrey did struggle to return last year from injury, so Grindo once again could see his role expand. But now we need to talk about the potential areas of concern heading into his second year. With the most notable being his injury history. All of last year, it seemed like something was always nagging at him, and if Christian McCaffrey does go down, he could end up being San Francisco's first, second, and third down back, especially if players like Jordan James and Corey Kiner struggle to adjust. It's also worth noting if Isaac Grindo falls into a sophomore slump. Sometimes players like Isaac Grindo, who have a really nice rookie campaign, fall into a sophomore slump because they don't attack the offseason in the right way, then the rest of the league gets tape on them and they figure out how to scheme them up. Hopefully Grindo comes into this camp with the right mentality. Based on his continued development last year, I would expect Grindo to continue to develop heading into year 2 though, and the only thing I'm really concerned about is his injuries. Still though, if he's able to remain healthy, I would expect San Francisco to use him like a true offensive weapon, and they probably found their next DEEBO Samuel type. But now, I want to hear your thoughts. How do you think Isaac Grindo's second year will play out? Who are you most excited to see headed into this training camp and preseason period? And it would also mean a ton to me if you did enjoy this video, if you could like and subscribe. And as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.